Hello, Merlins. We are now well over a month into our school year, and our students are bringing their A games to strive for their academic excellence. But with challenges up ahead, how do we become better academically? For today's episode of the podcast, we asked the top students of our school, their parents, and the teachers about what needs to be practiced for their academic success. Our first conversation begins with the first grade teachers of our school, Miss Musey and Miss Owen. We have two first grade teachers who are here with us to talk about academic readiness. Can you introduce yourself?
I'm Mrs. Owen.
I'm Mrs. Musey.
A lot of questions ahead, but I'm going to go with Miss Owen. What is one thing that is essential for all students to prepare for their academic success?
I think having excellent role models, parents who are involved and see their education as something important and something fulfilling as well. If parents are excited, that whole attitude just kind of travels with their children, and so they're excited about school, they're ready to start, they want to be here, and that goes a long way. So having that support and modeling at home of reading and literacy, that type of thing is going to set them up for success.
Having the right attitude, of course, definitely helps. It will be a lot easier for us if the all kids,
Yes.
if the all students can behave in a good ways, of course. Anything else?
From more of a the student standpoint, maybe just making sure they're coming prepared to learn and they're listening, following directions. They're able to work together with the students around them. Just having the ability to collaborate is always important.
So in what way can parents help our students to have better success in their academics?
I think just making sure that their children come prepared. They've had breakfast, they've had adequate sleep. They're they're not having to stress or worry about things that are happening at home or not happening at home. Instead, giving them that peace of mind where they really can come to school every day and focus and enjoy being with their friends and collaborating and learning new things instead of worrying about what's going on at home or the fact that they didn't get something to eat or that.
Right, because a lot of things that are outside from school can also hinder on their academic learning if they're not getting their full nutrients or full and adequate support.
Right.
I think too, communication for sure, whether it be with somebody in admin, but first and foremost, definitely the teacher for, depending on how many children they have, each of their child's teachers need to know, if there's something that might be going on at home that could create an issue in the classroom or among their peers, and it's going to surface eventually. So
Yeah, parents need to really understand that we're all a team. We're all here for their child. We're not wanting anyone to fail or not feel safe or not feel welcomed or loved. We're all in this together. We want what's best for every single child, and the best way to do that is to work together, to communicate.
What are some tips for our listeners to become better readers and problem solvers?
Access to books, first of all. If you don't have books at home, then being able to take your child to the library or take advantage of inexpensive book opportunities that might come through from the teacher or the community. We have community libraries as well, but just making sure they have access to that, and then also giving them time to really discuss things. I know we're in that age where it's much easier to hand them an iPad or hand them your cell phone and oh, there you go, just deal with that for a while. But if you don't really take the time to have a discussion, then they aren't learning that either. You've got to model that for them and take the time, and really you'll kind of find out some interesting things about your child yourself if you're taking the time to have some discussion. So
I think too, not doing everything for them, allowing them to make the mistakes so they can learn from them. I mean, that's, everything follows into adulthood. I mean, if everything's done for us as a child, then how are we going to do for ourselves when we go out into the world? So it's like making everything applicable to where they understand what they're learning now is important for their future.
Oh, definitely.
Setting up the stage.
For the next conversation, we asked our top 5th grade students, Emily and Rania, to talk about their ways to prepare for the lesson. Okay, so we got Emily and Rania here joining us on our podcast today.
My name's Emily.
My name is Rania.
All right, so, reason why you guys are invited is because you guys are one of the brightest, well-prepared students that we have in this school. So, usually, how do you prepare for a test or a lesson?
I would make sure that I'm ready and I take deep breaths, and I would prepare the night before by going to sleep early, and in the morning I would eat a good breakfast.
So, eating a good breakfast, that would help as well?
It would make sure that I have enough energy to take a test or a lesson.
Yeah, I mean, those energies, you need it. Sometimes the test itself can take a lot of toll. So you need a lot of energies to kind of prepare for it.
So I would be prepared the day before. Like, I have everything ready for a lesson. And if we have a study guide, I would study on that. If I don't, I would just look back at my journals and see what I have to, learn.
Like study guide, journals, anything that we take a note out of it would definitely help as well. Now, Rania, I might ask you, what do you need to do when the lesson starts? And what do you do after a lesson?
So before, I would make sure I'm prepared. Like, I have my pencil and whatever I need for the test. And I would take deep breaths so I feel confident. And after the test, I would pat myself on the back because I did good. I think I did good.
And that confidence is sometimes one of the most effective tools to have, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What about you, Emily?
Well, before a lesson or test starts, I need to quiet myself down and make sure that I'm listening to the teacher, and I would listen very carefully, and I would take notes on whatever he or she says, and then when the lesson's over, I clean up after myself and I prepare for the next thing.
There you go. So, you know what? Certainly, the listening part, it sounds easy, but it's not. Sometimes you just need a lot of focus. Anything, what do you do after a lesson? What do you do at home? After all the schools are done, what do you guys do at home?
Well, I don't really study that much.
All right, well, we'll take that out. But I'm just talking about outside from lesson, okay? As you guys go home and then you guys are done. So what is thing that you do to kind of just have a little mental break, to say?
Well, I usually play a lot of games and watch a lot of TV.
Okay. And what about you, Rania? It's so fun.
I watch YouTube. Yeah, I do.
For me, it's kind of amazing that you actually watch and follow YouTube, those YouTubers and
Yes,
subscriber. Oh my goodness. Who's your favorite YouTuber so far?
Crew.
All right.
5 siblings.
5 siblings. Oh my
One
goodness.
boy.
Oh no.
4 girls.
Oh yeah. What are some tips you guys have for our listeners in order to become a better reader and a problem solver?
Some tips would be to make sure to read a lot, and when you answer a question, you have to make sure you're reading it carefully and pick your best choice, and don't rush and take your time. And if you don't know what a word is, just try to sound it out.
Even though you're stuck at some things, just try to sound it out, try to do something out of it. That'll be a good tip for you. What about you, Rania?
So, you know how the STAR test is 4 hours?
Yes.
For each question, you should like pace yourself. So you can finish in that 4 hours. And some tips would be like, think about what you learned, like during the time that you like learned, and like just power through.
Oh, okay. So power through. The pacing yourself. It's kind of like, in a way, testing is more like a marathon, right? Like it's like a running. Like you have to pace yourself. Like not go too fast because then you're gonna get overborne, or you kind of miss out what you're supposed to look through. But you can't go too slow where you're gonna miss a bunch of times, you know. So it has to be adjusted at that right space, at the right pace, for you to kind of like, you know, tackle one problem at a time. And lastly, we asked two parent representatives, Ms. Nushin and Ms. Layla, to talk about their ways to help our children toward their academic success. Behind every successful student, there are parents who works for their child's good success. And we have two wonderful parents here with us today to talk about academic success. So can you please introduce yourself to the audience?
I'm Lila.
And I'm Lucy.
Yes, and we have two parents of our brightest students here with us, joining us today. By the way, thank you guys for making your time on your busy schedule to talk with us about the academic success. So I have a couple of questions for you guys as a parent representative. And one of the questions is, what are some ways you ensure that your kids have a higher level of education?
Thank you for having us. It's an honor. So for us, what we do is we just encourage things like critical and logical thinking, whether it's with schoolwork or just life in general. If she has any questions or any issues, any problems, we always like to talk through those things and kind of just communicate with her. I think that helps a lot with her schoolwork as well, so she can kind of think on her own when she solves problems, homework or any schoolwork. And we also like to stay really involved with her school. So whether it's going to activities, staying in communication with her teachers through email, texting, going to meet the teacher, open house, things like that. So that way we know also the expectations of the teachers. So we know that she's staying on top of what she needs to do.
So stay on the top is always one of the priority as well. And I think, I think a lot of people also need to understand that there is a communication part that is very effective, that is very important. What about you, Ms. Nushin?
Yes, first of all, thank you so much for having us here. First of all, I try to monitor my kids' progress in school by checking their grades every day. And when they bring their test home, I check what they got wrong, and then I go over it with them. And if all the time I try to tell them, just focus on what are you learning. And if all of us, we are human and we can make mistakes. So if you get a bad grade in any of the subjects, that's okay. Just have faith on yourself and learn from your mistakes and do better next time. And another thing that we do is that we try to be in contact with their teachers, especially when I feel that they have some challenges in any subject. I go and have meeting with them, and I ask their teachers for extra resources and more references. And to be honest with you, all of the McNeill teachers, they are so helpful. Sometimes the parents, they are like, for example, they says that, oh, we don't do it. Okay, just go and ask when you don't ask. So, that is, to be honest with you, I'm so happy with all of the teachers in McNeill because they're really helpful. You just ask them and they're so happy to help and give you more resources and help your child to improve in education or anything.
Yes, and then that communication between parents and teachers are very vital and important. And for us, it'll be great if we can have a good open communications to kind of better improve and further help your child as well. Yes, thank you so much for those two great answers. Actually, now I know why our students are being one of the best here. So another question I might ask for both of you is that are there any routines or schedules or practice that you do with your child to help them academically?
So yes, we have a routine, a daily routine. It's really important for us to keep her on a schedule. So one of the things that I like to do is after school, I ask her, oh, how was your day? Did anything interesting happen? What did you learn today? Just to get her talking, and then maybe if she has any questions, or let's just say something bad happened or something good happened, just to kind of talk with her and see what's going on. And then homework is always important for us. Sometimes she has homework, sometimes she doesn't. So I'll ask her if she has any homework, and that's one of the first things we want her to finish, is always finish her homework first. Then she can go and relax or take a small break. And then she does have extracurricular activities that she does, practicing piano or dance or something like that. And so we think that comes next. So as long as she gets her homework done, and for example, if she has any tests coming up, if she needs to go over anything or ask us any questions, that always kind of comes first. And then practicing next. And then we do have a strict dinner time and bedtime. Sometimes I even try to, especially when she was younger, I tried to do it over the weekend as well. Weekends we kind of relax a little bit more, but if we really truly don't have anything going on, say, okay, it's dinner time and it's bedtime, just so that way she can, not lose any sleep or be tired. So come Monday, she's nice and awake and rested.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's very vital to keep that good life balance within the family, so that the child knows how to maintain that good balance with herself in order to grow. I think that's something that I need to learn because I don't think I have a good life balance. As I really check it out, I'm like, oh, maybe that's what's wrong with me.
It takes a long time to get there.
I think the practice is really needed for me. I really think that. What about you, Ms. Nushin?
Yes, we have routine, and when they get home from school, they follow a specific schedule. For example, after getting some snack and getting some rest, they start with their homework, and then if they have a test next day, they would study for it. Then they practice for their music lessons or extra activities that they need to do. I try to teach them good study skills, how to be organized and to be disciplined. And to be honest with you, one of the things that all the time I remind my children to do is that start doing from the hardest part. For example, if you have a test, and go and do it, and after that go to the other ones that you think that is important but is not necessary to do it. Now I don't even go and help them out for writing their schedule, or for example the program and the plan. They plan by themselves what is important, what is the first thing they need to do, in the second and the third, till they are done. And after, between each of them, they ask for a break. Of course, I give them some break, but I am not monitoring them all the time. They just, I help them out in the beginning, but now they know how to do that, and they don't need my help. Of course, I try to go and help them if they need anything, but in general, they do it by themselves now.
Yeah, actually, a couple of teachers were mentioning about growing independence. They need to be taught at first, but once they're taught, they need to know how to do it by themselves. Even if it's not perfect, sometimes there might be an error here and there. That's another learning process. They learn from that, and then they can be better, and they can be more independent. And I think that teaching how to be independent, like you said, I think it really matters. So what are your goals for your child for the rest of the elementary school year?
Actually, our goals for this year is that during the elementary school year, keep being an A student, and to get masters in all of the STARS subjects. And I also want her to improve her self-concepts and get to be more independent, because after elementary it's going to be a big difference because I have a son that now is in junior high, so I know how does it work. So they need to be more independent, and they're growing up.
Yeah, they are growing up, and then they need to know how to think on their own feet from now on, and little by little they're kind of learning to flap their own wings and and try to find out of it. So what's your goal for your child for his or her?
Yeah, so pretty much the same thing that since she was younger until now. I know she doesn't have she just has months left for 5th grade, but that was one thing too as well, is independence, teaching her how to do things on her own, time management, teaching her, okay, it's time to do homework now. Okay, you take a break. She knows when to stop her break. She knows when she needs to start practicing. And same thing where she now knows how to do all of that on her own as well. So I monitor, but from a distance kind of, so,
Right.
and we kind of worked on, I think throughout the years here, was just encouraging her to try new things.
Right.
So when she got invited to do, for example, the UIL competition, or she didn't know exactly what that was. And I said, well, let's find out about it and let's look. And so we researched it with other parents, and it turned out that she really wanted to try it. So we're like, okay, let's try it. So anything that new that comes up, we try to encourage her and support her. And so now I feel she's more confident with different things, trying new things now.
Right.
And she understands now why the choices she makes is the best choice for her.
There is a saying that it takes a village to raise a child, and I really believe that at heart, where it takes the whole community to work and to take responsibility and to make an effort to make sure our students, which are our future, to grow in a good virtue. We thank you guys for listening to our podcast, and please join us back for our next conversations. Have a good one.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.